is Paul Harris, the editor of the Jewish Telegraph. I mean, brilliant interview by Douglas Murray for this here channel. I mean, what he is saying is really quite powerful. He's basically saying to the West, well, if you want to be swayed and kowtow to some of these pro-Palestine marches and the shouts of horror that have gone up about what's going on in Gaza, fine, we're going to carry on anyway, and you'll thank us for it, because, frankly, the situation in the Middle East is perilous.
I agree with everything that Benjamin Netanyahu has said. Nobody will fight Israel's battles for her. Israel has always had to fight to survive, and it's really pretty much the history of the Jewish race over the years, from biblical times. Israel does find itself isolated at times, but I don't think any country has a right to dictate to Israel what to do. Israel and the Israeli intelligence services know best, and I think that Benjamin Netanyahu is saying what most Jewish people think.
Yeah, I've always wanted to ask, as people throw up their arms in horror about this campaign in Gaza, what exactly is it that Israel is doing now that it didn't always say it was going to do in response to what I would suggest was genocide by Hamas when they invaded Israel and killed 1,400 people? What exactly is Israel doing that they didn't always say they would do? But if you don't mind, Paul, can I just lead you off this particular topic now to ask you about something else in case I forget, and that is that the Labour MP for Edmonton, Kate Osamor, has had the whip taken away from her, suspended, because she's tweeted a comparison between what she called the genocide in Gaza and the genocide of the Holocaust. My view, this is a blatant example of anti-Semitism. You know the type I'm talking about. When it happens to Jewish people, racism isn't quite so important. That's what this is an example of. But does it indicate to you that the Labour Party still has a problem with this kind of anti-Semitism?
Well, I think we also have to put her comments in context. These were deliberately released after she had signed the Holocaust Memorial Day Remembrance book. And she made these comments immediately afterwards and posted them to her constituents, which, frankly, was absolutely disgusting and deliberate. I mean, what can one say about this? There are still pockets of anti-Semitism within the Labour Party. I'm still waiting for this newspaper to interview Sir Keir Starmer. I actually, 2 years ago, following a talk he gave at a Labour Friends of Israel luncheon, challenged him and asked him why he had allowed everything that went on during the days of Jeremy Corbyn to carry on while he was in the shadow cabinet, and himself not resign or even call Jeremy Corbyn out at the time. And I'm still waiting for a satisfactory response. I don't think anti-Semitism has been wiped out of the Labour Party, certainly not satisfactorily. And as I said, I think there are still pockets remaining, and I think this just goes to prove it. Hopefully she doesn't get the whip back, because what she has done is appalling, particularly juxtaposing it with Holocaust Remembrance Day.
Going back to the situation in the Middle East, and Israel in particular, one reads reports quite regularly that Netanyahu's own popularity ratings have somewhat plummeted, and the Israelis themselves are sort of beginning to doubt his leadership. Is that right? Is this Prime Minister on his last legs talking tough?
I don't think he can survive after what happened, but there is unity at the moment. There's a unity government at the moment where all parties are pulling together, and it was made very clear from the outset that until Hamas was wiped out as a power, this action would not end. And I think Jewish people throughout the world, the majority certainly support this. Again, there are pockets of Israelis who don't, and certainly there are those who are involved with the families of the hostages who may feel different or differently. But this is a very difficult one, and I think that most Jewish people and most Israelis would support the action to wipe out Hamas, which is what Netanyahu pledged to do. And until Hamas is wiped out, Israel can't feel safe.